Thank you so much for joining me, whether you're joining us in person here at the Transfer Center or on YouTube, Instagram. This is our Next Steps for Transfer workshop presented by the Harbor College Transfer Center, and my name is Ms. Natalie Parra, and I'm here to tell you the next steps for transfer on your journey with us from Harbor College to a university. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So in today's discussion, we're going to talk about a few things, including applying for financial aid, January updates, supplemental application, acceptance letter, conditional admission, UC statement of intent to register, Cal State intent to enroll, appealing an admission decision, transfer timeline, and we're going to have a Q&A at the end for our students. So getting started, apply for financial aid. So applying for the financial aid is very important. You do have to get the application in soon. I know it's March 2nd, and that seems like a long time from now to turn in your DREAM Act or your FAFSA, but I promise you it's going to come so fast, so you're better off just getting it done now. So make sure you get that application in either FAFSA or DREAM Act. Now my students ask me, well, what happens if I apply to 6 different schools or 3 different schools or 2 different schools? What do I put as my campus? You're going to list every single school that you applied to as your campuses on FAFSA because you can put more than one. So put all of those in there so that way each university that you apply to can get your information and put together your financial aid package. So that is what you'll be doing, and if you need help, please let us know so we can get you assistance. And then, of course, there's the CSU and UC spring updates. So if you applied to Cal States, you need to log back into your Cal State Apply and put in your grades from fall. You're also going to need to verify that your winter and spring schedule is correct in your application as well. And then for the UCs, you're going to do the same thing. You put in your grades from fall, and then you mark your winter classes as in progress because you're in winter right now. If you're taking a winter class, you're going to switch those over to in progress and make sure that your spring classes are correct in the system. And you hit save for both of them. UC calls it TAU, Transfer Academic Update. CSU, you just go back in there, put in your grades and the course history, and then at the very end, you just hit update my application. And for UCs, it is priority deadline of January 31st. And for Cal States, you need it done by January 31st. So if you haven't gotten it done yet, today's January 26th, make sure you get it done. If you need help, stop by the Transfer Center virtually on Cranium Cafe or on Zoom, and we can help you with that too. And I will link the link to get assistance from us virtually down below in the description of this video. And then, of course, there is the supplemental application. So my students ask me, what is a supplemental application all the time? So Cal State Long Beach has one. That one's due on February 1st. San Diego State has one. It just passed. That one was due not yesterday, January 24th, excuse me. And some campuses do have them, depending. An example is like Long Beach for social work. You have to do an extra application too. So there are campuses that require supplementals, not all of them, but some. And what they ask on the supplemental application normally, specifically for Long Beach, is they ask about the ADT. So are you finishing your ADT? Are you going to have it done by the end of spring 2022? That's very important to them, and you do need to have it done by the end of spring 2022 in order for it to be a valid component of your admission. And then major prep, they are going to ask you, for example, in the Long Beach application, if you finished your major prep, and if not, when will you finish it? So like I said before, you need to get that done by the end of spring 2022. So if they say, oh, business major, when are you going to have business calculus done? You want to make sure that you have it done by end of spring 2022. You need a grade of C or higher in order for it to be valid to meet the admission requirement. And then sometimes there's additional questions on top of that, like, are you completing your Golden 4? Your Golden 4 being English 101, English 102, transfer level math, and a communication class. Will you have your 60 transferable units done? And those things you have to have done by the end of the spring semester. So again, the Golden 4, the grades of C or better in English 101, 102, for example. Sometimes students take journalism 105 or computer science 100. The transfer level math, all of that needs to be done by the end of spring with a grade of C or better, and your 60 transferable units have to be done by the end of spring as well. Now, the Golden 4, sometimes my students ask me, what are the Golden 4 exactly? Can you please tell me? So you need to have one class in each of these sections done with a grade of C or better. So for Area A1 oral communication, you can choose from Com 101, 121, 122, or 151. You just need one class. Written communication, you need English 101 or 101X, 101Y, or 101Z. One of those needs to be completed with a C or better by end of spring. For critical thinking, there's a lot of choices to choose from. There is English 102 or 103, Com 104, which is argumentation and debate. Computer Science 100, which is computer science for liberal arts students. Philosophy 6, which is logic. Psych 66, and then there's Journalism 105. So those are your options for critical thinking. And then for math, for the transfer math, you need to choose A transfer math to get a C or better in. Most commonly, my students take math 227 to 227S if they're, for example, a psych, sociology, history major. My students who are liberal studies majors to be teachers, they normally do math 215. And my STEM students mostly do calculus. So you have plenty of transfer level math if you're a STEM student. So all of these categories, you need at least one class with a grade of C or better by end of spring 2022. And then the application updates for Cal State Apply. You want to make sure that you have somebody at the transfer center check with you just to make sure everything's perfect before you turn it in. If you repeated a class over fall, let's say I got a D in history in summer and then I repeated it in fall and got an A, I need to make sure that I take off the D in history from summer and change the D to an RP for repeat. I'm not going to erase the whole class. I'm just going to put that I repeated that class, and then I just leave my fall grade of an A for my history class that I passed. Okay, so that's what you want to do. If you are not sure what I'm talking about, see me or anyone in the transfer center so we can help you with that. If you got academic renewal in the fall or you just got academic renewal approved over the winter, let's say for I got academic renewal for my communication class from 2012 or whatever it was, right? That the grade got forgiven. I need to change the old grade. Maybe I got a D or an F to an AR for academic renew. And a counselor can help you with that. Anyone in the transfer center, we can all help you with that. But we want to make sure that those go in there too. And then, like I said before, it's due January 31st. You need those fall grades in there. The winter spring schedule needs to be accurate. And if you do not get it done by January 31st, you can get immediate denial from select Cal States. The one that loves to do that is Cal State LA. So do not let yourself get auto denied for not getting this done, okay? Just finish it up and you'll be good to go. And then acceptance letters. So students get acceptance letters in the spring. I know you applied back in November, October, some students in January if you applied to like Dominguez, for example, that allowed students to apply all the way up until January 15th. But whichever you apply to, you're not going to hear back until February, March. So mostly late January to March. Specific dates vary by campus. The UCs take a long time. The UCs will all let you know by April 30th. UCLA takes the longest. They wait till the very end of the month normally to tell students that they got admitted. And then private schools, it varies by campus. So USC likes to send a decision by the end of May. Now for the UCs and Cal States, they normally give you admission decision by email and in your portal. So they've all by now contacted you saying that you need to create a portal for each individual campus you applied to. So if I applied to Cal State LA, Cal State Long Beach, Cal State Northridge, and Fullerton, I would have needed to make a portal for each of those schools. And then that is where they will tell you later on down the line if you were accepted or denied, and they'll also email you normally. Same thing with UCs. They do email and they will notify you via portal. So if I applied to Berkeley, UCLA, UC Irvine, I should have made portals for all those campuses, and they will let me know in that portal updates regarding my admission and send email as well. Now for the private schools, USC likes to send letters in the mail letting students know if they got in. That's been their thing for many years. That's how they like to do it. And some out-of-state schools do the same thing. So I've had students that apply to campuses in Colorado, for example. They found out a week later that they got admitted. And they get a nice package in the mail with a certificate saying that they got in, things like that. So really it depends on the campus that you apply to, but for the UCs and Cal States, which is our most common campuses that my students apply to, they are getting those notifications via email and via portal. Now, conditional admission is something that, we talk about with our students because they get so concerned when they read the email and it says, "Congratulations, you've been conditionally admitted to Cal State Long Beach for fall 2022." And students are like, "Oh no, what does that mean? Did I not get admitted? Did I maybe get admitted? Like, what's going on here?" So they just use the phrase conditional admission because you are accepted, but on the condition that you complete everything that they ask you to complete. So there are conditions associated with being accepted to the university, meaning that you have to meet the deadlines that they ask you to do, and it is revocable. So they can take away your admission if you miss a deadline. So examples of conditions would be condition number 1, finishing your ADT by end of spring. So if you decide that you're going to drop all your classes and not finish your degree, then that could affect the admission. That could be a condition of your admission for some campuses. Let's say I ended up dropping stats in my final semester. Then I'm not going to be able to transfer because that's one of the conditions is completing your Golden 4 by end of spring, and I'm missing my transfer math. Let's say I dropped a major prep class in spring, and you're supposed to complete all your major specific requirements by end of spring. Then I could be denied. Same thing with 60 units. If I drop a class and I only have 59 units, they can no longer admit me. I needed 60. You also want to make sure that you submit your transcripts to the university before the deadline. So a lot of the times it's in June after your grades post. I want the transcripts by June 15th or June 30th or July 15th or July 1st, right? Depending on the campus. You want to make sure you turn in those transcripts on time because they are relying on them, and if you don't turn them in at all, they will deny you. Another example, one of the conditions is updating Cal State Apply with your winter spring grades by January 31st. They will auto deny you for that, and then making sure that you submit your intent to register. So we'll talk about that in more detail in a couple of slides from now, but the intent to register is your confirmation that you will be attending that campus. They're saving a spot for you when you do that. So if, let's say, I got so excited that I got into UCLA, but I didn't submit my intent to register, they will take away my admission. So you want to make sure you get it done as soon as you are ready to say yes before the deadline. Now, sometimes my students are waitlisted, and that does happen. I mean, it's something that is a little bit of a challenge because as a counselor, I don't want to give my students false hope that you're going to automatically get taken off the wait list and put in the campus, but it's a little hard to say if a student is going to get admitted from the wait list or taken from the wait list to accepted. So a wait list offer means that the campus really has not decided if they want to accept you yet or not. It's kind of like a little bit of a limbo type of thing. So there may be space for you. You want to make sure that if you do get a waitlist offer, you want to work on raising your GPA in the spring. So shooting for all A's, getting straight A's is the best way to raise up your GPA. So if you can manage to get A's in spring, please do so. It'll help you so much. Another way to help you would be, for example, finishing up requirements to meet an ADT deemed similar if possible. So let's say I'm a sociology major and I know that for some campuses I only need Soc 1 and Soc 2 to get in, so I didn't want to get the sociology associate degree for transfer from Harbor College, but Long Beach waitlisted me. So I might decide I better just take those sociology classes to try to see if that'll help me get into Long Beach for fall. And if I do them and they notice that and it helps, then awesome, I have nothing to lose and I got an extra degree. So that does happen too sometimes. You also want to make sure you complete any additional recommended courses for the major. So if, for example, I had put on my application that I didn't want to take that I'm not taking US history, but Long Beach needs it for business as an additional requirement, additional recommended, and now they deny me because I don't have US history, then I want to make sure that I add the US history class in the spring. So that way it'll help my case. Now, sometimes my students will submit intent to enroll to an alternate campus to save their place because their number one goal is transferring. So for students, it depends on their goals. If your first and foremost goal is to transfer somewhere, then you want to make sure you submit your intent to enroll at an alternate campus to save your place somewhere, right? So if I got into Long Beach, but I got waitlisted at UCLA, then I want to make sure that I submit my intent to enroll to Long Beach so that way in case UCLA doesn't take me off the waitlist, I can at least go to Long Beach in the fall. Now, sometimes my students don't care about that. They just say, you know what, there's no way I want to go to Long Beach. For UCLA, I was an education major that I applied to. Long Beach doesn't have education, so if I can't get into UCLA this semester, I'm going to try again another year, or I'm going to try to apply to different schools next year and UCLA again, but Long Beach doesn't have education, so I don't want to go there because it's just not the major that I wanted. Then that makes sense too. It really is a case-by-case basis for students, so you really have to do what's best for you. If you need some help deciding, make an appointment with me or any other counselor in the transfer center so we can help you with that. And you also want to make sure you notify the campus. So you want to be sure to follow through with accepting the waitlist offer because you don't just get a notification that you're on the waitlist and you just have to wait. You actually have to accept that offer. So you're saying, yes, I agree to be on the waitlist. Please contact me when you're ready. There's normally a deadline. It's normally within a couple of weeks of getting your waitlist offer. So you want to make sure you submit your acceptance of the waitlist in time. And you want to make sure you meet with a counselor like myself so we can help you strategize getting accepted from the waitlist to see what else we can do to help you. Now, statement of intent to register for UC, the deadline is always June 1st. That is how they do it. And you can only accept admission to one UC campus. And you cannot transfer your acceptance from one campus to another after you declare your intent to register. So let's say, for example, I got into UCLA and UC Berkeley, and I want to accept both campuses. So I pay for UCLA first. Well, guess what? If I decide, oh, I don't want to go there anymore, I want to go to Berkeley instead, I can't transfer that $250 over to Berkeley. I have to pay again. So I'll be paying $500. And I can only go accept admission to one campus. So that's why you want to make sure that when you do your intent to register, you think really carefully and make the best decision for yourself, no matter what that is, because you have $250 to lose there. And that is a lot of money. And then your intent to enroll for CSU. So your statement of intent to register usually includes a fee depending on the campus. So I'll give you an example. Cal State Northridge normally doesn't charge a fee, which is wonderful. Very transfer friendly. Cal State LA, sometimes you can get a fee waiver. Dominguez Hills, sometimes they'll waive the fee. If you have an EFC on financial aid or estimated family contribution of 0, then they'll waive the fee. Cal State Long Beach, they normally have a fee depending on the campus, but it varies. So like at Dominguez, it's like $250. At Cal State LA, I think it was $100 last year. So it depends on the campus. So you want to make sure that you're starting to put some money to the side so you can make the payment of your intent to enroll. If you are having any type of financial issues and you need assistance, let the transfer center know so we can get you connected with some way to get that fee covered. Because it's definitely extenuating circumstances in these times. We've been going through a lot. I think just as an entire community, as a campus, our students have been going through a lot. So if you need assistance, please let us know so we can help you and support you. And then, of course, we have appealing an admission decision. And this is another topic that is really a bummer to talk about in transfer, but it does happen and it needs to be talked about so we can help our students through it. And that is when a student is denied by a university. And it does happen, and it's very unfortunate. Now, what happens when a student gets denied? We have to make sure that we know how to appeal that or ask if they could please change their mind. That's all you're asking for with an appeal. You're asking if they can change their mind. You're asking if they can look at your application again, and it is their decision if they want to overturn that decision and let you in or not. So each campus has their own process, and a transfer counselor can help you find out how to appeal based on the campus. So Long Beach, they have a cover sheet sometimes, and sometimes it's just a letter and documentation. Dominguez has a full-on cover sheet and a packet to submit. So I've seen it done many ways, so we have to look depending on the year and see what their practices are for that year. And now the top reasons for appealing that I've seen get approved. Well, the only one that I've really seen get approved is that the university did not count a student's units correctly. And that has happened. I don't want to scare anyone, but I have seen it at least once a semester every year that a university tells my student, you don't have 60 units. Sorry, you're being denied. And my student is like, what? I have 60 units. And me as their counselor, is sitting there counting the units over and over again on their transcript. I'm telling my colleagues, can you count these for me? It's 60, right? I'm not crazy. And we count 60, and then we have to do an appeal saying, you denied our student because, or the student has to say, oh, you denied me because you said I don't have 60 units. Actually, I do. Here's my transcript. Can you please count my units again for me? And then we work from there with the student to make sure that they can at least hear the student out. And I've seen it get approved. Now, sometimes a student, they appeal because they weren't able to add a class that they originally indicated they wouldn't be taking, and now they're adding it and they're going to take it. So let's say me again with the history class, I decided to add it for Long Beach for business, then I would try to do an appeal for that reason. Sometimes a student, maybe they made a mistake on their application. Maybe they forgot to put their repeats or their academic renewals. And like, let's say me, for example, let's say I academically renewed 4 classes and my GPA went from a 2.3 to a 3.9. In that case, I want to make sure that I submit an appeal to, let's say, Long Beach saying, I know that I did my application and I didn't have academic renewals on there. I didn't know about that. I'm so sorry. This is what happened. And then see from there if they're able to accept the student. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you attend one of our appeal workshops so we can help you do the appeal process. We also go over in the workshop how to write an appeal letter and procedures for admission appeals depending on the campus. And just a friendly reminder, universities will be in contact with you via email, so you want to make sure to check your email daily to keep track of upcoming deadlines to complete tasks related to your admission. And if you have any questions about an email, ask a transfer center counselor so we can help you. Students get emails all the time that can be confusingly worded or unclear, or maybe it can sound alarming to a student, so just contact us so we can help you understand the email. And then, of course, our transfer timeline. So you want to make sure in fall that you apply to universities, depending on the deadlines, right? For private and out of state, sometimes they're in spring that they have the deadlines. And then in winter, you're going to put in your fall grades and your winter spring in progress courses to Cal State Apply and or UC Transfer Academic Update. And then in spring, you're going to be following up with all the universities regarding any requests that they have for you. Petition to a graduate with a counselor, including myself. I'd love to do your graduation petition for you. Receive conditional admission. Submit your intent to register. Request general education certification after your grades post. And transfer. And then, of course, we have our beautiful transfer cords that we give our students when they transfer. And they are for graduation use. Like on the day of graduation, you put these on and they signify that you transferred to a university. So you want to make sure that you pick up your transfer cord from the transfer center. If we do our transfer recognition ceremony in person this year, then you'll be able to go to a ceremony where we'll be able to give you the transfer cord and you can wear it and take pictures with your family. And then, of course, you wear it on graduation day too. And then, of course, our transfer recognition ceremony, which is my favorite event of the year, every single year. So that's our time to celebrate you. The last couple years, due to the pandemic, we've had to do virtual ceremony. But when it's a virtual ceremony, our students submit their picture, they put a quote or a thank you message to their family, and their major and what university they transferred to. We do a big premiere on YouTube and it's all over social media, and we're really excited for our students. They do like full-on watch parties. It's so sweet, and that happens every year. And then when it's in person, we have a full-on ceremony in person. So students come in with their family. We have food for them, dessert. We do opportunity drawing to win prizes for our students, and it's just a really beautiful moment to celebrate you and your success and accomplishments and all the hard work that came with transferring. So make sure that you keep in touch with us so we can help you get started with that process of RSVPing. And then I'm going to turn it over to questions, and of course at the very end, make sure you stay in touch with us. Follow us on Instagram if you don't already at LAHC Transfer Center. Download the Grad Guru app and select LA Harbor College as your campus, and our phone number is 310-233-4282. Thank you again for joining us, and I'm going to turn it over to questions for our students that are here with us in person in case they have any. Have a wonderful day, and we cannot wait to help you transfer. Bye!